back to the original point. Favorite road city, and just a little insight too to even our relationship, Sophia and Adam. Like I tell these long, extended, windy stories, so I got to be really concise. It's also, something that my producer, Amy Johnson, tries to get me to do in my storytelling and reports. So it's not just what I do on TV, it's a part of my life. I try to be more concise, and it's a difficult thing for me to do because I like to expound and give everybody every single detail of everything. So a thing that I always do with you, so I'm like, long story short, and the story ends up being like 30 minutes. But
You know what? Wait, you know what
back
I
to
say when you say long story short, I always say too late for that because
yeah,
it's too late. It's too late. But hey,
exactly.
that's I love that about you, and I have the same problem, and we can talk about this later. But telling a story and sometimes 15, and Adam, you know this
Mhm.
with sponsored reads and stuff, 15 to 20 seconds, and you have something to say that you have 5 minutes worth of like Charlie McAvoy or whatever you have on the Red Sox, and you got to get it into 15. It's very hard. And it sometimes I feel like I'd rather just not tell the story because I'm not doing it justice. So I get what you're saying. It's difficult. But anyway, go back to Hotlanta or your
Yeah.
favorite city.
So favorite road city. I mean, it's kind of I guess there's some bias because I am from Los Angeles. So I always love going back home because anytime I can marry the two things together is fantastic. So I love going to LA, even if it's in Anaheim, which is about an hour and a half from, where where my parents stay and my siblings. But it's still good to be there. And so that would be one of my tops. But I mean, if we're just talking about just strictly for the amenities, the ballpark, the people, I think I told you it was Toronto before. And as I sit here and think about it, I don't think that's changed for me. I absolutely love that city. And maybe it's because I love you, my fellow, my Canadian friends. But I love Toronto because the diversity, the ballpark is sneaky top five for me, as far as
Wow.
experience in the league. When they open the roof, though, there's a caveat.
Yeah.
So when the
Yeah.
roof is open and you see the Space Needle there, or I don't even know, it's not called the Space
CN
Needle. What's it
Tower,
called?
CN Tower. It's called
CN
the
Tower.
CN
Yeah,
Tower.
that's Space Needle
Yeah.
Seattle. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when that is open and it's a sunny summer day, I mean, you're hard pressed to find, 26 more ballparks that are better than that, I guess, in that moment. So it's sneaky top five for me. So I love Toronto. We stay at amazing accommodations. So it always feels like you're working, but you're kind of resort style living a little bit. Like you're enjoying kind of the enjoying life. So I like
Yeah.
Toronto. It's up there, and I'd say right now that's probably one of the tops for me. One of these days I'll tell you about my top five, but that's probably one of the top cities for me.
I mean, obviously I love that answer and like I haven't toured baseball. I've seen some games when when I was a kid, I guess when we'd go to other cities, I'd catch games, but not to the extent like that I'm working in it. So to hear that the Rogers Center, which was formerly the Sky Dome, way better name, um is one top 5. That means a lot to me and obviously such a great city. Adam, you've seen baseball cities, you've seen hockey arenas, you've seen them both. Do you have a favorite? And what are your qualifications? Like Jahmai put in the stadiums, which when I was thinking mine, I didn't even think about that. I was thinking more like restaurants, walking around, blah, blah, blah. But what are your like criteria and what are your top one or two?
All right, do I have to make up time because Jemai's long, windy road that he went down, or can I
No,
expound a little
you
bit on my answer?
the mic is
you,
yours.
you're
Take as
wasting your
much
time
time as
right
you
now
want.
by taking shots at me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But you know what?
Never waste,
I feel
never waste.
satisfied by taking a few shots. No. You know what? So yes, I've traveled with both teams. It's been a while since I've traveled with the Red Sox. I started doing sideline with the Red Sox back in 2014 and did it for a couple of years on and off. So I didn't go to a ton of big league ballparks or cities. So I'll stick with mostly like hockey because I'm a victim of recency bias because I've been doing it the last couple of years, a lot more this year. So I think I
Yeah.
went to every single city except for Minnesota and Winnipeg, which was a razor trip actually right before Christmas. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't
I
been,
remember.
yeah. So I did go to Minnesota to cover the Twins Red Sox series back in like 2014, but I haven't been to the Excel Was it Excel Energy Center? I think it is in Minnesota. I think that's correct. But
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah, I think that's right.
yeah. So yeah, but I've been everywhere else. I really enjoy. So I went on the Western Canada trip this year, which was cool because I had never been to any of those cities, including Seattle. It was my first time out in Seattle. So I was really looking forward to going on that trip. And I wasn't disappointed because, I went, we did, so for those who don't know, it's Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and then we ended up finishing in Seattle. Vancouver's awesome. It's beautiful. I had
Yeah, it is.
heard that it was beautiful, and I actually had an opportunity to do some sightseeing in Vancouver, which was really cool. So Judd Surratt, who is the play-by-play radio voice for the Boston Bruins on the Sports Hub, he and I actually rented mountain bikes, and we went
Wow.
mountain
Oh, sick.
biking. Yeah, and we got to oh man, I can't remember what is the name of that park, Sophia?
Stanley
That
Park. Stanley Park in
Yes, Stanley
Vancouver.
Park. Thank you. So, yeah, we actually
Yeah.
rented bikes. We not tandem. We didn't get a tandem bike. We each got
That would have been
individual
cute.
bikes.
That would have been cute though.
And we went for a ride to around and saw all the sights, and that was really cool. And then if I love Toronto. I was just there for 5 nights plus 2 more with the Bruins, and I loved our hotel location because I know you could both speak to the fact that if you're within walking distance of the arena from the hotel, it's a game changer.
That's big
Yeah.
time.
And if the weather's nice, yeah, it's huge. So I really love that. I love Toronto as a city, and I loved Washington D.C. I loved going
Oh
down
yeah.
there. I stayed in the Georgetown area one of the times. Did all the sightseeing, did the Smithsonian stuff. It was really cool. So those three right there are definitely tops on the list.
Listen, I've changed my answer 1,000 times listening to you guys because I'm like, oh wait, I gotta think about this criteria, that criteria. For sure, home, Toronto, mostly because I don't even see the city. I just go see my parents. So that's obviously that. But in terms of a road city to travel to, Vancouver's amazing. Seattle was up there for me. I didn't think I was gonna like it. And a lot of, the staff on the Bruins, some of the people I'm friends with or Nesson are like, because it is. There are some rough parts, right? There are some rough parts, and they're like, really,
Yeah.
Seattle? But I think it's a beautiful city. I like grit, and I like kind of unique, artsy vibes in the sense that I want to go to a coffee shop that doesn't look like any other coffee shop I've been to, or a breakfast place, not cookie cutter. I mean, I love chains too. I'll grab a Dunkin', but I like when somebody starts a business because it's their passion and whatever they're good at, whether it's making sandwiches or pastries, and they don't have a lot of money, but they put their heart and soul into it. I feel like I found that in Seattle. And then this is where the hot take comes in. I wouldn't say, now
I've
that
been
I
waiting
think
for
about it, I'm
this.
like, okay. Okay, yeah. So I've told it to some people and they're like, this is your favorite city? Listen, I love Montreal. I love Vancouver. I love my Canadian cities. But one that I legitimately look forward to
Hey,
going
easy with that
to
mic.
I know I'm a hand talker too. One that I legitimately love going to, guys, for the reasons I
Bum, bum,
just said,
bum.
artsy, it's turning around. I feel like there's a little bit more money being poured into it in terms of unique businesses. It's Detroit. I love
Oh
going to
my
Detroit.
God.
I knew you were gonna
I
freak out.
swear, you could have given me 100 guesses. I would have never
Never?
guessed Detroit. Of all places,
Okay.
Detroit.
I
Oh my gosh.
yes, I think
So
it's
artsy.
beautiful.
So
Yes.
okay,
Okay,
so
go ahead.
I'll say
Interrogate.
where the Little Caesars Arena is, they've done a lot of, gentrifying the area, so it does look nice, but I mean, culturally, please enlighten me. Detroit?
I know that's a hot take. And when I've told that to other people, they're like, out of all the places in the world, that's where you like to go. Like I said, Montreal, hands down, Toronto, Vancouver, Seattle, even, and Washington. Oh my God, Adam. I can't say enough about Washington. But what I like about Detroit, I guess I just like seeing, first of all, the architecture is beautiful. It was such a, amazing city back in the day when it was thriving. I find the architecture beautiful. But where we stay with the Bruins, and I don't even know the area, it is within walking distance to so many new businesses run by, like I said, families or young couples or people that are just trying to make it. And I think, they're renovating buildings, they're like giving them a facelift. And I kind of walked around the city on my lunch break, and I had an amazing lunch at this random cafe. There's kind of art displays everywhere. Yes, it is dangerous. Like at night, I remember kind of walking home when it was getting dark, and I was like, I don't really like this scene. But I do feel like that city's on the up and up, and I just like experiencing the new businesses, I guess.